Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to another wonderful session of the Niger Data Platform Meetup. We're this week eight. So for me, it's good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are reaching us on planet Earth. Um, Welcome once again to week eight, and thanks for those who have joined us from week one for the past seven editions. We really thank you, and we appreciate your support and your guidance, and your support, basically. So we'll go straight live into our meeting, our meetup for today. So today we'll be discussing. We'll continue our conversation of analyzing data with Power BI, and our focus or emphasis will be on working with web service. And I'll be taking us through the session, but before we go straight into my presentations and the session, I will want us. I just want to. I'll run through and give a special shout out to our partners. We really want to appreciate our partners, Microsoft, Gyri Computers, Covenant Technologies, Kate Creativity, and Enterprise DNA. We are so grateful for the support you are giving to this meetup or to this meetup. We are so grateful. And also, I also want to give a special shout out to the local organizing committee, or maybe I should call it international organizing committee. The group of professionals within the uh, Niger Power Platform team that has ensured that week in, week out, we continue to release wonderful and amazing content to power addicts across the globe. Um, I'll go straight. Just a quick recap of what we've done in the past seven editions. We started off with an overview of data analysis with Power BI. Week two, we treated Power Query Editor and special emphasis on ETL. Week three, we handled data modeling. Week four, we treated DAX, treated understanding DAX. And in week five, we went straight to visualizing our data with Power BI report. And in week six, we handled or treated telling stories with images, shapes, filters, and bookmark. And just last week, we treated advanced data analysis with Power BI. So for this week, we'll continue in the analyzing data with Power BI story, and our emphasis this week will be on the web service. A little bit about myself. I'm Oluwasegun Owodunni. I'm a professional here in Nigeria. I'm sure we can see my profile. Sure we can see my profile. Basically, I can be reached via LinkedIn, Twitter, or send me email. For me, my career path strategies along the lines of analytics, and I'm a firm believer that systems and processes can be improved and made more efficient by leveraging the power of analytics. And one of those tools is Power BI. And I'll be touching around a few things around Power BI web service. It's going to be an introduction, and I guess this should be just fine for us to scratch the surface and take it off from there. Okay, so what is Power BI service? So Power BI service, as some persons will say, uh, persons will refer it. So there are quite a number of synonyms that could be used for this. So some persons will say Power BI online service, some persons will say Power BI web service, and some persons will just say, "Guy, go to app.powerbi.com." Everything is still speaking to the same thing. That's the Power BI online service. So it's something like a software as a service part of Microsoft Power BI. So aids collaboration, it aids sharing. It's more of the cloud edition. Every other thing that we have touched in the previous slide, in the previous weeks, we've done everything from our desktop. That's the Power BI desktop. But this time around, I'm yet to introduce to us that Power BI does not just end on the desktop. So once you build that beautiful visual or that beautiful report, the end goal is not to send that every PBIX file. It's expected to be published to the web and shared across the web to all report users, or those who will consume the report, or the stakeholders that will consume the report. So basically, Power BI online service is that service, like I said, software as a service that allows that collaboration and that sharing of reports. Um, so Power BI Online Service simply offers simply intuitive experience for interacting with data. The service and features can be designed to specify engaging with data from heterogeneous sources. So what this means is that you could deal with data from various sources. So for example, you are a business, and perhaps let me give you are a sales you are an organization that has an ERP, perhaps you are FMCG, where you do sales, a lot of sales, and you have an ERP, or you have a tool that saves your data in the database. So what you could do is that database could be an access, could be a data source. For example, you could also have other data sources, for example, on SharePoint folders, in Excel sheets, in maybe data vars, in quite different data sources, right? And what you could do is, from the desktop, as we showed in the previous week, through the Power Query ETL, you could create a report that creates a model that connects all those data sources, right, together, and you could build a wonderful report that helps share insights that can be consumed by those who views your report or your dashboard eventually, right? So it allows faster, more insightful business decisions, right? So what Power BI service does, because this aids collaboration, this is shared. So you're moving that beautiful dashboard, or that beautiful report that you shared on your desktop, Power BI desktop, you are moving it down to the web, through an online service that people within your network, within perhaps your company's tenants, or within a workspace can view. So this aids insightful business decisions. So what it means is that if I'm someone in your team and I need to make a decision, for example, something as simple, a case in view could be cost benefit analysis for your organization. So I want to do a cost benefit analysis. I don't need to come and send a mail to the analytics team or the team of developers, Power BI developers. If I if the report has been shared with me, I can create something simple, or I can just create a small analysis from the data set that has been shared, and I can drop a table or create a visual, get insights from it, and that aids business decisions without me having to wait for everybody, right? It delivers rich, consolidated view of key information, no matter the underlying data, where the underlying data is stored. So, for example, I want to give an example, a case in view. You are a business, you are an organization that has, for example, you're in the corporate stride or corporate performance team of your organization, and you have various business objectives that needs to be measured or tracked. So what it means is that you can, from those reports, create KPIs or visuals, or headline KPIs or visuals that tracks the business objectives. So as you view the report, as you walk through the report, you can know how your business is performing. So some of these things could be lagging indicators. So you could, as a result of the learnings from the historical performance, whether through trend, whether through headline or KPIs, you could learn from the, not incidents per se, but you learn from the previous occurrence, and you could apply that and course correct going forward as an organization. So, and also it helps shares insights. Like I said, the beautiful reports that you have done on your desktop, Power BI desktop, is not just for your desktop, it's to be shared by everyone. So this also aids sharing of insights. And so, how do you access Power BI online service? So it can be accessed via the browser, via a web browser. So basically, Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer, Chrome Desktop, Safari, Firefox, and any other browser can be used to access this the service. So it's simple. It's app.powerbi.com. We will go through it. We'll go straight into a few things, and I will share. We'll do some demo, and I'll share a few things with us, and I'll obviously take questions from us, and we'll go on from there. Also, what I want to share with us some key elements of Power BI some Power BI elements, some elements of Power BI. So I have about 8 things I highlighted here, but we'll see them as we go straight into the demo, and I explain some of these things, and we'll see how these things work. Things to note: some of the things that I have, the images I have here, could have been updated because, like Power BI, the Power BI team or Microsoft team generally applies the continuous improvement, the Kaizen methodology. So every month they dole out updates. So what I have here it's not updated. So once we go live, we will see. Once we go into the demo where I show us the application, we will could see some of the updates that we have had here. But basically, things to note: we have the navigation panel. For those who can see my cursor, the navigation panel is where my cursor is, and highlighted or tagged as one. We have the Microsoft 365 App Launcher. For those who use the 365 tools. It's not just a Power BI that has that, and it's somewhere around there. We have the icons, buttons, including settings, help, and feedback. That's somewhere around there. We have that's somewhere around there. Um, yep. We have the search box somewhere around there. We have the favorite dashboard. So, for example, if you favorite the dashboard or report, we have it there. We have reports that have been built. So basically, this is how the Power BI online view sees looks like. I want to touch on building blocks before I go into our demo proper. While we go and see a few things and just do a few things. So some of the building blocks, Power BI. You have 5 major building blocks in Power BI. That they are dashboards, reports. I'm sure some person will be wondering. I mentioned dashboard and I'm talking about reports. Are they not the same thing? I will explain that further. Dashboard reports. We have workbook, we have data sets, and we have data flow. They are all organized into workspaces and they are created on capacities. This is important to understand. It is important to understand capacities and workspaces before we dig into the 5 billion. So we start here. So, um, workspace. What do we mean by workspace, right? So, workspace is just like think of it in the literal terms, in the literal term. I'm in the office, and we have teams, various teams, right? We have the HR team, we have the finance team, we have the corporate strategy or corporate performance team, we have the sales team and everything. They all have their workspaces. So there is a corner. So there is that area that you go into your office that you say, okay, that workspace, that area is for HR, that area is for sales, right? Those are so just think of that literal meaning, right? I'm bringing down to Power BI. So workspace in real sense, in what Power BI means is just like an area within Power BI, your capacity that allows you perhaps publish your data. For example, as a team, you could have your workspace. And that's what I do. For example, in my team, we have our workspace. So all you just need is you grant everybody within your team access to the workspace. So every report that is being doled out in your team is published to that workspace, and everybody can have access. So it's collaboration, right? So data sets. I'm coming back to dashboard and reports. But before I get there, let me talk about data sets. So when you've built your report, for example, on Power BI and you publish it to the web, I will see that, I will explain that, put proper context into that. When you've published your reports into um, Power BI Online service, there are 2 things that are uploaded. There are 3 things that you see. Once you go to the workspace or where the report is saved, whether it's your personal workspace or it's a public workspace, that the report was published, you see both the reports and you see the data set. The data set speaks to the data. It's like the data that help build reports. So while you are working through data, when we were starting off with the introduction, when we started off with this meetup, we took a topic, ETL, Power Query. At some point, that was when we tried to connect to different data sources. We did some bit of data wrangling. We loaded everything into our data model, right? And it's from that data model that we now created between visuals and reports, right? Remember that there are 2 different engines. We had the data Power Query engine and we have the data modeling engine. So in Power Query engine, it was feeding off the M query, right? And on the data modeling, we are using DAX to create reports, right? So At that data query, Power query ready, where you have to create your M language, where you write your steps and everything, where you create connected different data sources. That data that you have, right, those tables that you have, is also loaded when you publish a report to Power BI Online. So why is it still needed? Why is it loaded? So what it means is that someone else within your team, right, could create a new set of reports without having to go through the ETL reports that you have gone through, or the whole ETL process that you went through, the data cleaning, the tasks that you wrote where you had to create measures and everything. Someone in your team necessarily does not need to go through that step. So the person simply just feeds off the data set that you have published. So, for example, you have like a business. So, for example, let's just say a case in view, right? Your business has a single source of truth for its data, right? You have a single source of truth for your data, and that's in the model, right? So every other data that's connected, you have your from database connected, you have from Excel sheets connected, the various trackers connected, and I've created measures that headlines or shows the various business indicators, KPIs, performance indicators that you track as a business, right? So if I want to build a report, I do not necessarily need to go through that same process again, right? If I need to build another report, let's say someone from another team is trying to build another report, I don't need to go through all those cleaning that you have done and everything. Since that's a single source of truth for your business, all I just need to do is just use that data set and create a report. But the only thing is that I will not be able to edit the data set. So you will see it like you are viewing something like in a direct query. For those who have imported things in Power from SQL, there are two modes. There is import mode and there is direct query. So you see it in something like a direct query. So you might not be able to view the tables. All you just view is view the measures, you view the columns and everything. You might not be able to, okay, you can write a measure, but you might not be able to do a little bit of editing into the data set ab initio, right? All you just need is just to create reports that fit off that data set. So that's data set in itself. There is now data flow. So data flow could be organizations, something similar to data set, but this time around data flow could could be built from the Power BI service, from the Power BI service, and it could be organizational wide, right? So it's I think it's bigger, but something similar. So dashboard. I know I've been talking about report, and for those who have built reports on Power BI desktop, some persons use the word my dashboard, my dashboard, my dashboard. But in the Microsoft Power BI context, right, what you built on Power BI, your desktop, it's a report. It's not a dashboard, right? So for you to create a dashboard could be a combination of reports, various reports. So where you create, you pin different indicators in different reports into into a dashboard. So you create a dashboard. So it's like gives an holistic view. So for example, let's give a case in view, right? I'm the Minister of Finance in Nigeria, and I have various economic indices that I want to track. Let's think of this. Let's bring it down home. I'm in Nigeria. We have the Ministry of Budget and Planning. We have the Ministry of we have the Bureau of Statistics in Nigeria that gives numbers around inflation, the economic indices, inflation. I'm not an economist, but so please pardon me. You have people within your financial team, the finance team itself, that talks about the profitability of the economy, right? That speaks to revenue, operating expenses. Our government does not pay tax, so we don't have that. So our operating expenses are there. That just speaks to the general financial health of business. I have economic indices. So let's say, for example, I'm trying to build a report, and these are different things because there's the Ministry of Budgeting that does their own budgeting, that tracks budgeting, vis-a-vis what you budget, expenditure vis-a-vis what you budgeted. There's the Accountant General of that does various reconciliation. There is the Bureau of Statistics that are like the economists. They give economic numbers. There is the finance department or the finance team in the Ministry of Finance, right? These are different teams, right? So let's think of this as Nigeria having an organization, right? So we have these different teams and they have their different reports that they track. So the head of Bureau of Public Enterprise, no, the head of budgeting, is not interested in your revenue. Maybe what he's interested in just how are you guys performing relative to budget, right? The CBN or whoever is in charge of head of statistics doesn't need an Nigerian's revenue. He doesn't need that for his own to track his own team, right? Let's say the Ministry of Finance, maybe someone in financial tracking or maybe someone in tax does not need the revenue or some things. So, but as a Minister of Finance, because I need to feed off, and let's think of this as a Minister of Finance or as the CEO of an organization, I need to see those different reports from different teams or different organizations, different teams within the organization. So a dashboard could be created that has high critical um, high critical KPIs from different reports that have been created where I see. So at an high level, I just have an idea of everything that is happening. So that's what dashboard means. So dashboard is like a combination of various reporting, combination of different visuals from different reporting. So I don't know if I'm communicating, but I guess when we go straight into a demo, you understand what I'm talking about. So this, I've been talking through a few things. So I just want to talk about the workflow, the ideal workflow. I tried to explain some of those things, but I'll just try to talk through the ideal workflow in the web service. So you get hundreds of data sources. So I think at the last count, over 200 data sources. Power BI can connect over 200 data sources. And Paraventure, your data source is not even a part of the data sources that Power Query can connect to. You could still via APIs. You can still have custom, you can still create custom connections, right, to those data sources. Then you connect all those things, then you have the Power BI desktop. Everything you publish, connect, everything goes into Power BI service, where you have your gateways to track your connection data. And then it can be accessed whether through your phone, through your laptop, through tabs. Everybody can access this data. So I've been saying a lot of things. I guess we should just go straight into the demo and just see a few things. So what I'll be doing here, I have a report, a small report that I just created that tracks uh exchange rate, the official exchange rate. I don't want to be a governor to come after me. The official exchange rate that tracks the official exchange rate in Nigeria. So this is it. I don't know. I'm sure we can see my screen. That tracks the official exchange rate and just shows how it's been growing. And the three major currencies that I'm focusing on the US dollar, I'm focusing on pound sterling, and euros. So what happens here? I've done this and I need to share this. Let's say, for example, I need to share this with guys in my reports, my organization. I don't need to walk us through what has happened before now. I'm sure we have videos for those of us watching through YouTube. We have various videos of previous sessions. Those sessions are wonderful. So you can just go back, and if you need a form of a cap, go back and view some of the sessions, some of the topics that have been treated. They will explain some of the things that I have here. So what I just need to do here, I need to publish this report. So in publishing this report, I published this report. So yes, I need to talk about this. For you to be able to use Power BI Online Service, you need to create an account, a Microsoft Power BI account. It doesn't take in registration in registering. It doesn't take a personal or the generic open email account. So like the Hotmails, Yahoo Mails, Gmails. It only takes your office, school or office email account. So for example, let's say for example you work in Nigerian Ministry of, let's say for example you work in Ikeja Electric. Some at ikejaelectric.com. But if your email is something at Hotmail, something at Gmail, it won't take it. So you need that kind of access. And for you to be able to work on the web service, you need a minimum of a pro license. I think I'll touch on those things as we go further in this session. For those who are connecting, I just so I'm sure that I'm not talking to myself, can you just put up something in the chat? Let's say hello, listening, following, so that I know that guys, I'm communicating. Okay, so what I do is I publish. So there's a publish icon here on the home tab. So once I publish, it asks me a question. It's okay. If I've not saved it, it asks me to save. It asks me to save, and once I've saved, um, okay, Techie Space, Techie Palace, I cite you. Uh, okay, so I'm trying to save. So it loads up, it brings up a dialogue, right? So I have quite a number of I have workspaces, right? So I've created workspaces in I'll go into the Power BI space and I'll show you this. I have different workspaces that have been created. So there's a personal workspace for my account, which is my workspace, and there are three different workspaces that I've created. So I created a workspace for this meeting today, and that's the Niger Data User Group. And I also have one COVID-19 US tracking and one other place, IE dashboard and everything. But I want to publish this report to Niger Data User Group. So I select Niger Data User Group and I publish. So while it's publishing, you see replace data set. So apparently there is this, I had this data set already there. So but I want to replace it. So once I replace it, um, so once I replace it, it asks me to, it's been published, to tell me success. I get this feedback, success. I can open it from here, but or get quick inside, but I don't want to do that. Instead, I'll head up to app.powerbi.com so you can see some of the things I've been talking about. Okay, so I'm at app.powerbi.com, but for those, I'll just try to type it again. So I don't know if let me try to increase. Okay, it's not. Okay, so let me just app.powerbi.com. And once I click on app.powerbi.com, so this is the landing page. So this is the landing page, and you see various things. Like I explained, we have, let me try to increase this for some of us that are following so they can see, so it can be clearer, right? So like I explained, you have the navigation plane. This is navigation plane where you have various things: the home, create, browse, data, metrics, apps, deployment pipelines, learn, workspace, my workspace. So this is an introductory session. So I might not go deep into a lot of the things. I might not go deep into a lot of the things, but I'll just touch on a few things, and those things could help us go back and pick up these things and research a few about this and deploy in our various um, in our personal lives. Okay, so we have the navigation plane. We have so based on the different reports that are opened, we have some of the recommendations here, and like I said, just showing you some of the things that you've shared. But remember, I spoke about workspaces, right? So we have different workspaces. So if you click on this guy here, workspaces, it shows you the different workspaces that I have. So I have three workspaces, like it showed in the last session. I have three workspaces. So I publish a report to this Niger Data User Group workspace. So I can click on that and it just shows me the reports in the workspaces. Okay, so it shows me the report. It shows me all the content in the workspaces. So both all the content, data set, and data flow. But while I was talking through my session the last time, while I was talking through my slides, remember I mentioned something about data sets, that once you publish a report, it loads up the report and also the data sets, right? So if you notice here, and you can see the type here, notice here it's load up the report, it loaded up the report, that's the forex rate. I will open it right now, and the forex rate data set. So for example, if I want to do some form of analysis, let me just show you us that, right? Let me create a new um, okay, I'm trying to create a new, so it's taking time to load up. I'm trying to create a new Okay, it's loading up. So once it loads up, so you can understand what I was talking about the data sets, right? I do not want to go to that, but okay, while we wait for that to load up, let me go back to this guy. So you could see different things. So our forex rates. Let me just open the report so you have an idea of what I'm talking about. Okay, it's taking some time to load. Just bear with me. The report is nervous. I don't know why it's taking this long. I guess I'm using a lot of memory space. Okay, you know what? Let's just move on. Uh, let's just okay. Well, I need this report to load because I need to explain a few things to us here. Okay, so thank you, thank God it's open. So it's some things are still loading. Okay, so I know maybe later we'll talk around optimizing our reports. Um, I don't know if we touched around that, but that I'm taking in advanced courses. But we can also obviously read through this online too, optimizing the data reports for improved performance. Okay, so once you have this, once you load up that data, it opens up in a I don't know how to put it. It opens up in a view only format, right? It opens up in the view only format. So all you can just do is just interact with the report here. That's all you can do, right? You can't edit, you can't change this report or anything. But for me to be able to edit or change um, something in the report, maybe I want to change the visual, I want to change the number, but I might not be able to write, I won't be able to write DAX here. All I can just do is just to edit. I won't be able to edit data source here, but all but for me to still using the data source, but create maybe new measures, create a small report, a small table. I will have to click on the edit. So once I click on the edit, for those who are used to the Power BI desktop space, you see a few things. You get to see um, your visualization palette. Um, you get to see your visualization palette. You see your tables. You see the tables you have created. Perhaps if you are like me that create tables for DAX, for my DAX measures, you see your tables, you see your DAX measures, and you see just everything about data. The only thing you can do is you can write a new DAX formula, and you can't edit your data source here, right? So you can create a new report. Let's say, for example, I want to just create a small report. Um, let's say I just want to do month and year, and I want to see the average. Uh, let me see the average. Going to give me buying rates. Yeah, the average buying rate for a currency. Let me try to filter this by year. Let me focus on 2021 alone. So this is a small table. So okay, one thing I didn't mention too, because my data source had quite a number of currencies, right? Let me limit it to just three currencies. Let me limit it to the dollar, euro, pound sterling, and the US dollar. Okay, so this is like a small table, right? For those who can see, this is like a small table. Let me this is like a small table that shows my average. So something as simple as this, right? If I need to create a report, I need to create some form of summary from a data set, from for a report or from a data set. Think of this as your organizational data. I need to create some form of summary or a small table that just shows our trend or something like that for some maybe meeting on anything. I don't need to go to start connecting different data sets and everything. I can just even in my edit mode, extract this thing and extract to Excel. For a lot of us that are used to using Excel, but I think people don't share with use Excel. You can just export the data to maybe Excel and export data, summarize or whatever, and export it to Excel or CSV format. And this will be shared to whoever you want to do. So I'm just trying to show us that there are quite a lot of things that you can do with the web service, right? It aids collaboration, it aids collaboration. And one other thing again, let me just go back to our workspace. So when we create our workspace, right? I don't save this. When we create our workspace, you could grant access. So remember I spoke about workspaces being something like a team. So you have like a workspace for your team. So since it's a workspace for your team, you could grant access to people, the team members or guys who you want to consume these reports, grant access to them via this workspace to view the report. So you can add people from your tenant, your office tenant, your tenant, when I mean tenant, your Microsoft tenant to this. So one thing you can do, you can add people outside the organization to consume or view these reports, or to consume or view these reports. And one other thing again is you can now decide to share the actual report itself. So let's say, for example, you don't want to add people to your workspace, so you don't have access to your report. You can actually share the report itself to whoever you want to share it with. Share the report via Teams or whatever platform that you want to share it via email. So what they do is that they have an access, they have a link, that link brings them back to this report. But the or trick to this is that the person must have minimum a pro license to be able to access or interact with this report. And you can also create subscriptions. So you can subscribe. So for example, so I have a subscription already. I don't think I will open that mail. But for example, I want to get a screenshot of this report, right? I want to get a screenshot of this report sent to my mail. Let's say every 7 a.m. As a business executive, let's say you created a report or perhaps a dashboard, right? And as a business executive, at let's say 8 o'clock in the morning, you want 8 o'clock in the morning every morning, you want to see, let's say, how your business performed on a month-to-date basis, on a year-to-date basis of the or looking at the week-to-date basis for the previous week, or historicals, or just a general performance. You need to check your business standing, right? You can create a subscription whereby people just access this. But there are other ways people could do this, but you create a subscription direct and you could subscribe email. So what they do is that they get this snapshot or a screenshot via emails. I don't know whether people are following. So that's the concept of data sets, right? I've explained that. So let me go back to what I said I was going to explain. So creating a new report via from data sets. Let me go back to, I opened up a new Power BI. I want to show us something. So this is a fresh Power BI page, and what I'm trying to do here is to feed off data from a existing Power BI data set. So if you notice that I don't have any form of connections, I don't have any tables loaded up here. But what I want to do is that I want to feed up data from an existing data set. So this to reiterate some of the things I said back while I was walking through my slide, or running through my slides, when I said that if you have a data set and perhaps that's like a single source of truth for your team in terms of the models or data sources that you track, right? If you want to create a new report, for example, you just want to create a new report without touching the previous report that you have, or maybe from the data flow that you have existing, the national data flow that you have, or parental data flow that you have. All you need to do is to come here from the home tab. You will see data up, and you could create fresh data from Power BI data set. So what it does is, provided I'm logged in, because I have to log in because it goes straight into my Power BI online account. So what it does is it goes into my account, my Power BI online account, web account, and it pulls out all the data sets that I have. So if I want to create a report that fits of a particular data set, all I just need to just select the data set. I don't need to go through the whole stress of trying to do this again, reinventing the wheel. So let's say, for example, I'm a lazy team member. Okay, I don't want to use the word lazy, but I'm a team member that tries to work smart, right? And someone has done the work, or maybe you have a developer team, Power BI developer team that have done the good work, and I'm strategy or corporate performance team, and I want to check some form of data. I don't need to go through building reports from the scratch. All I just need to do is feed up this data set and get what I need to do. And I'm using the Forex FX data set that I uploaded just now. And once I do that, it loads up. Just give it some time. It will load up. It's trying to load. Just give it some time. And I don't know if you have questions. If you have questions, please, you can drop them on the chat box. I should be wrapping up my session in the next few minutes. So please, if you have questions, you can drop it. I will attempt to answer the questions, and if you can't, I will get feedbacks to us. So we can see now that the data sets have been loaded. So you has loaded into a Power BI. So this was the existing data set that I had. The FX rates. I had a calendar table. I had my data source, it was the FX data, and I had a table that where I had some measures. So one thing that I mentioned, remember I said loading a data set will be synonymous to um, loading the data, let's say for example from SQL or SAP BW, or that has to do with data set coming in. And instead of doing the import mode, you're doing direct query, you might not have access to the tables, right? So if you notice here, we do not have, I don't have the table. So all I have is the report view. I do not have the table view. Report and model view. Model views that shows the relationships. I do not have a table view, and that's because you really cannot touch the tables. You can't do more things about. You can't do it, or you can't edit the data source. All you're doing is create a report that fits up the data source. So let's say, for example, I'm just creating something small, and but I don't need to. For I will assume that we have all gone through the whole data building reports, visuals, data Power BI. So this is just like a data a data source. So let me go straight and try to wrap up the conversation. Yeah. So one other thing that you could do, you could create um fresh data from start. Just the same way you go through creating data from Power Query, just through your this thing. You could start to create pick publish data sets, or you go under your workspace, go to a workspace, and you will see the new. So you can create a new report that fits off a data set, right? You can create, I might not be able to get it, talk about scorecards, but please, you can just read about these things. Scorecard, you can create new data set, and you can create data flows. We can create data flows, right? And you can even upload, let's say, for example, you can publish your Power BI file, you can upload your PBIS file here. And there are a whole world of possibilities that can be done from the web service. So the goal, remember what I starting off, is software as a service. So the goal is I've built this report, I've built this nice and honest, nice, good report. um Collaboration, how do I collaborate, how do I ensure that this report is shared with other team members or stakeholders that need to consume this report? How do I ensure that they also get access, they get the right to view some of these reports? There's a whole lot there's a lot of things around managing the web service. There's things around the administration of rights. So for example, you have created things like row level security. There are things that people can view or people cannot view. So there are quite a number of things, a broad scope around web service. So I'm just trying to do an introductory to this. I'm just trying to touch this topic, scratch the surface around this topic, and create 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 some for lack of a better word, just create some form of ginger within us, just to look up this topic, right? And try to learn a few things and see how we can adopt this further into our work, and ensuring that we come out work efficiently and smart in a smart way, right? So I think from my own end, that's it from my end. If you have questions, you could ask questions. I could attempt to answer the questions, and if we do not have I think that's it for my end. So I think that's all. Thank you and thanks for listening. So I will try to attempt take questions. So if you have questions, please you can drop on the chat box, and if you don't have, you can call it a day. Okay, I will assume we do not have questions. So
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Shegun. For
you're
now, we don't
welcome.
have any question in the
Okay, thank
chat.
you. Oh, great. Okay, so we don't have questions in the chat. So I guess that's it from my end. Thank you. Thanks for listening in. And once again, special thanks to the organizing committee or the organizers who gave me the privilege or gave me this platform to share a few things around Power BI web service. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I will hand over to Janet or Olajide.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shegun. To the audience, please don't forget to join the next session, 4 to 5 on our job, please. Thank you, and see you in the next session. Bye.